And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Yes, I know I'm back in my old spot. The missus is having a lie-in, and I know I sound like I have these lovely dulcet tones over YouTube, but I have quite a deep resonant voice, and apparently it goes right through the wall, and she's having a little lie-in, so I've been relegated back to my spot at the kitchen table. Hey, you should get some turtle time. Crikey, where to begin? Okay, I mean, the first thing I'm trying to do, obviously, is after the massive plummet once again, is my 700,000, 900,000, 700,000, 900,000, 700,000, and now back to 900,000. Has been going on for what feels like forever. And last game week was the drop from the 700, dropped down to the 900,000, down from about 700 to 900,000. And getting knocked out of more bloody cups than Dolly Parton bouncing on a trampoline on a windy day. Can it be recovered? Can it be recovered? We've got a lot of stuff happening. Some good stuff, I think. That's given me a few questions, because I kind of made a decision on something I was going to do in the coming game weeks. Namely, one Cole Palmer. I was going to move out next week for Mbeumo, freeing up a bunch of cash, but of course he came on with 45 minutes to go, and got 2 assists, leading to Chelsea getting into the top 8 and easing some of their fixture congestion for February. Man City got through. Haaland got a goal. And they only got through. They scraped through by the skin of their teeth. Mainly thanks actually to Real Madrid losing to Benfica, I think, to a goal from the Benfica goalkeeper. go Jose Mourinho with your tactics. So they're through. That will certainly ease some of their fixture congestion. Newcastle didn't make it into the top 8, so their fixture schedule is going to be an absolute nightmare next month in February. And of course Arsenal are already fine. What does all this mean? I haven't got a fucking clue, to be honest with you. I haven't got a clue. I'll wait for some people more knowledgeable than me to do the research around it and what it might mean in terms of free game weeks for doubles or anything there that may be affected. This, I don't think has changed too much in the meantime. I think what I have on the screen there with the blanks and the doubles. And first off, what has to be on our mind clearly is going to be waiting for the outcome of the Carabao Cup matches, and do we get a confirmation that Arsenal have got a double. Now, the way the season's bloody going, I honestly would not surprise me if there's some daft surprise. We're all thinking that City and Arsenal are through, and they should be. The way the season is going, I'm telling you what, it did actually occur to me something that I think we all have a little whinge about season on season, and I think we're whinging the other way now. How boring FPL can get with the template and etc. Does anyone actually have a clue what the template is now? I think it is one of the reasons for trying hard to find some consistency. Is there a clear template? There certainly are some template picks. Gabriel, Bruno now, only just recently though. Haaland was, but Jesus, the way he's going, and this is a big pickup. I don't know, that just doesn't feel as I was looking through my team. I'm going to go through my team shortly. I look at it and it looks absolutely lovely, especially now that the yellow flag should be coming off Palmer. But there's at least 6 or 7 players in there that I could think about changing if I had a wild card. But they could prove to be big mistakes. I don't know. It's kind of making it interesting, but also extremely frustrating. And I think it's one of the reasons for such low scores. We're all spread out across different players, and we jump on one player that looks as though it's fine and bit consistent, and they lose consistency, and someone else finds it. You've got players like Kira Wilson's, etc., getting on their hot streak of form, and his has actually continued, to be fair. And he's a player I would like. There's a few players I really would like, but I have to get in a position to roll, and I think maybe I am in a position now. The team actually looks okay. There's a few areas where I need to tweak somewhere down the line. But as I look at this, we've got we're going to have a blank in 31. And I think that's going to be the next on the horizon after the 26th. And I think we need to start thinking, particularly if we've used our wildcards. And I think a lot of people will have started to use their wildcards. Got to get in a position to roll to manage through 31 and the double in 33. In my dream, I'd like to find a way to manage through 31 and 33 without using a chip. Did it last year when we had a similar situation, and I actually came out of it very, very well. And the reason I managed to do it last year without chips is because I didn't have any chips, and I actually managed some really good rank rises. If I could achieve that miracle again, that could be something as a really decent differential going into those potentially smaller doubles and blanks to put me in the strongest position. Don't know whether I'll manage to achieve that. I'm going to start out with honest intentions to achieve it, but realizing that it may be just I think a lot of people are going to probably dead end into 31, maybe wild card, and then free hit 34, maybe something like that. I would imagine that's a fairly valid chip strategy. Not having the wild card though, the one thing that's absolutely clear, I do have to try and have 4 or 5 transfers banked up and use transfers in the lead up to that fairly intelligently. Now to that end, here's how we currently line up. I've got the team down here. We'll just pop it up there so you can see it on the larger than not. Just I will go through the spreadsheet. Looks pretty good. That flag should be coming off Palmer. He got 2 assists. The midfield looks pretty decent. I mean, the things we're changing here. Verbruggen, it's not a bad fixture. Gabriel's Gabriel. Mateus Nunes, City defence. Do I trust it? Probably not. But where else do I go at the moment? It's certainly not not something that needs to be addressed straight away, but possibly somewhere down the line. Alderete, yeah, decent fixture. Sunderland at home, right on that. He's sort of bench cover, but knowing that Sunderland at home, there's always a decent chance of a clean sheet. Would I prefer Mukiele? Yes. Other ways to get to Mukiele? Yes. But that's kind of moving into the luxury area at the moment. Yeah, the overriding need is, after this game week, to possibly start trying to roll a few. Palmer, okay, there's still a concern, but he did get 2 assists. I haven't seen that game now. I will have a look and just see what he actually looked like, and was it just a couple of little toe pokes to someone and got lucky with the assist? I don't know, but he came on with 45 to go when Chelsea were in trouble, and he got 2 assists and they won the game and they were in the last 8. That to me is a high influence player. And what he is also now means I do have 2 very strong players going out for that West Ham match. In theory, strong players, both of whom I think will start. I think the match takes on, and now that they are out of Europe, sorry, not out of Europe, but not having to play those two qualifying matches, I think that helps on the fixture congestion, and the match being of high importance because they clearly do need to make sure they still finish in that sort of top 4. My bet is that they would both play. Saka, yeah, I know this Palmer coming through in some ways presents a dilemma for me. I was going to just use Palmer as a cash cow next week and bring in Mbeumo, freeing up a few million, and that would allow me to do something as a keeper upgrade and sort out the 3rd spot on the bench. Now whether that is into a Krupi, with Bournemouth's good fixtures, Krupi and Evan Nielsen both looking like they're playing. I prefer to get Evan Nielsen, in all honesty. This is a story for another day. I'm not actually going to probably think about those transfers too much. I think the main point of that's the team. It actually looks okay. It's the sort of team on any other day, on any other week, in any other season, you say, that team's got a 70-point plus in it. But this is not that sort of season, is it? It really isn't. But what's going to be interesting this week is the captaincy captaincy decisions. There's going to be a lot of swings this week. A lot of people bought Bruno in. I was hoping that I'd be not necessarily in a small group. I suspected quite a few would go the Bruno captaincy. Looks like Bruno might be the highest captaincy pick this week. And there's going to be a lot of people on Haaland. So I think it is a battle of Bruno versus Haaland. And if you get it right, it could be a great week. But at least if Haaland does haul, it may not be as damaging as it would have been in previous weeks. Not that he has been hauling much for a long time. That's the team. Going to go through a little bit on the spreadsheet. May be useful for you guys, some of your thoughts. So keep that spreadsheet up there. Right, guys, fiddly. I'll move this. Oh my god, I keep picking the wrong one. Again, come on, what's going on? There we go. Let's get that out of the way. Just going to go through the spreadsheet. You'll see I have actually extended it out. Oh, please. I know I was up early to watch the football, but please, hang on. Give me a sec. Dear Lord. Sorry, guys. I'm such a professional. Again, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, this thing is more sensitive than... No, I'm not coming out with another euphemism. I think Dolly Parton was enough, wasn't it? Okay. Right. This might be useful for you guys. I did it for myself, obviously, because this is a very, very selfish channel. It's all about me, but I hope you guys always get something useful out of it. Here is the spreadsheet as it stands. Here's my logic a little bit behind some of the stuff I've done. I've extended out to 32, and this is going to just help guide me. Obviously, with transfers I'm bringing in to try and remove some of those red spaces. 28 and 29 I'm looking at specifically. A little bit of decent bench stuff to come in there, you know, as it swaps around to remove a bit of it. But I'm not going to put maybe as much emphasis as I try to roll on trying to keep a, you know, that sort of sea of green or blue and remove red as I have done to date. I mean, it hasn't been working, let's face it. Fixtures just don't seem to bear as much relevance as they used to. And I think it's more about having the right players out. Obviously making sure, which I have at the moment, now I've got the right arse triple up for 26, if indeed there is a triple up. Don't know. Timber's flagged. I didn't actually see, that's the one thing I missed. Was Timber on the bench for play this morning? I suspect he would not have been risked with Arsenal already qualified. I'll have a look at that. If Timber's flagged, that's obviously going to be a worry for those with the double Arsenal defence. Ray obviously fine. Have to take a look at that one. Doesn't as such obviously affect me. I just have to go this path for the time being. You know, with the Rice, Saka, and Gabriel. I'm pretty sure Saka was completely rested. So hopefully he's nice and fresh for Leeds, and I can start to see him get back to some decent averages for me, because he's fallen off the rails, quite frankly. Back at about, to be fair, even back at probably game week 20, I think he was still ticking along at a 6-point average. But yeah, 21, 22, 23, admittedly didn't play a full game in 20, only played 30, and then the same in 22. Hopefully with Arsenal qualified, he's getting his full 60 and we start to see some returns. I set this path, I kind of have to go down it. Now. And the fixtures, you know, with Leeds, Sunderland, Tottenham. I've got Tottenham in there twice for some reason. I know the fixtures are good up to... yeah, I've got a mistake there on my ticker as I was updating it. I'll correct that at some point. But, you know, there's some decent fixtures there for Arsenal. But Arsenal are a bit of a worry. They're dropping points. I don't want to say the silly teams. I'm obviously Man United were amongst those teams that took points off them with a superb performance at Highbury. First team scored 3 goals there in God knows how long. But as much as we're sort of set, you know, say Palmer is coming good. If I do want to do something significant, I'd really love to bring in Mbeumo. Jumping around here a little bit. I haven't even fully gone through the defence, have I? I think this is actually kind of my burning question, really. As I look across 25 to 32, I have to get myself into a position to. I think I can manage through 31. I don't think that's that problematic. I can bench, 2 Arsenal, 1 City if I keep Haaland, and the rest could potentially go in sale. In sales, and if I have banked 5 by then, they could potentially be then brought back. I don't feel there's an imperative to buy any City players back, anyways, for 32, for instance. But it could be in 33 if they're, which I think they will have a double in there, where I will want to obviously get some City back. But, if I could make the right transfers, keep it minimal, so 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I've got 6 transfers effectively up to 30. Now, I'm very, very loath to book transfers, so I'm not going to. I'm probably going to talk more in generics, but if I could get away with 2 or 3 transfers up to 30, bringing in the right players, maybe we start to get some more information around likely doublers in 33, for instance. That's going to sort of influence my thinking a bit. Once we start to have a couple of more FA Cup matches, etc., maybe we start to get a picture of what that big double might start to look like. Or indeed the blanks. It's a minefield. So what I'm saying is, I think what we need is more information. What I need to do is roll transfers. This team looks good. As much as I would love to bring an Mbumu in 25. As much as, Wilson, Fulham have a nice, if we look at my watch list there, currently I've actually, there are other teams with some decent fixtures. I know that, I've obviously got Chelsea and got my double up on Chelsea. Do I look at a third Chelsea player? Obviously those fixtures are great in the next 4. I don't think I'll go for the third Chelsea unless Palmer does prove to be a continuing problem. Maybe we might look at it then. I've put teams in my watch list, and that's as much as anything. I'm more looking for teams that I might want to do a transfer from out as we get a clearer picture from maybe about game week 27 that actually do have really nice fixture runs up to 32. So Brentford, absolute hellish fixtures for the next few game weeks with Villa, Newcastle and Arsenal. But Brentford then have Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds, Everton home. Nice little fixture run. Is that time maybe to have a little look at a Thiago and either maybe an upgrade on Brobby, or in my ideal world, if I feel it is appropriate to move Palmer out, turn him into Mbumo as a possibility, because that's United fixture run. Let me just have a quick look at that. Yeah, Crystal Palace home, Newcastle away, Villa home, Bournemouth away, Leeds home is not bad from around that sort of 27. In fact, I would go so far as to say even Everton away. I don't think that's too much of a worry. West Ham away, 26. You see what I mean? I'm looking at teams where maybe don't have an involvement in Europe. Like a Brentford, United, Fulham, lovely fixture turn. Pretty rough. Man United away, Everton at home, not too bad. Man City away, Sunderland away, not so great. But then 29 onwards, Tottenham, Wolves, Forest, Burnley. Nice fixture turn. Not so great with the Liverpool away. But Fulham, there could be some Wilson time. Maybe, depending on what's happening with injuries, future cup matches, future doubles, etc. These are the sorts of teams, and as I say, no involvement in Europe, sort of teams where I'd like to target some of their best assets. Bournemouth again, have they turned the corner? Because they were pretty ropey for a while, but again, from about 27, some really nice fixtures in it. West Ham, Sunderland home, Brentford, Burnley. Man United home might not be so good now. Um, Posing myself some potential problems with 32 there. With some of those, with Fulham and Bournemouth, they've both got pretty nasty fixtures in 32. But you can't have everything. You know, as I say, I'm going to have a little bit of a less of an emphasis on the Form V fixtures than I normally have. I will generally always try and keep a decent amount of green and light blue in there, but I think I'm just going to have to tolerate a bit of red as we try and navigate the challenges of 31 forward. And of course I've got Man United there at the bottom of my fixture ticker. I do want Mbeumo. I really do. And a lot is going to depend, I think, on Palmer's form and Saka's form. This is actually back to the point I started to make and then jumped again. Palmer and Saka. Those to me are probably my two cash cows. Now if Palmer's flying, there's no one else you want more in your team, because he is the guy that can get you those 2 and 3 goal involvement returns, and 4, as we've seen a few times in the past. Are we going to get a bit of that? 2 assists in 45 minutes in the second half today. Gives me a little hope. But again, don't know the answer to that question. If I knew, I would tell you. Obviously Saka. Now it's all well and good me wanting my Arsenal treble up for 26. But I had an Arsenal treble up from Manchester United at home, and I got bugger all out of it. I had an Arsenal treble up for game week. Yeah, okay, well, I did get the Gabriel 8 points in fairness, but yeah, Rice and Saka both blanking in 22. How necessary is an Arsenal treble up at the end of the day, when there are other good assets out there, as in an Mbeumo, who could outscore Saka on current form? Don't have to answer those questions today, thank God, but it's just that food for thought. Because on paper, once again, on paper, the midfield looks fantastic. The game's not played on paper. But I think with the yellow being removed from Palmer now, and I look at my fixtures, 24 to 27, little bit of bench cover now. You know, it's not perfect. There will be 1 or 2 tough fixtures in there. But there's a fair amount of really good fixtures in there, and as we've seen, you know, would you put it, say I was playing Alderete and Brobby and or both, whatever, you know, away to Liverpool, would you put it past them to get something? I wouldn't. Not the way this season is going. So it's a very, very long-winded way of saying that is the team for game week 24. Famous last words: can I find the discipline and hold my nerve to roll up to about 26 or 27, depending of course on whether Palmer is getting good minutes, depending on whether Saka starts to pull his finger out and get a few assists and a goal. When's the last time he scored a goal? The answer is probably no. You know what I'm like. But that is the goal. That is the goal, and we'll see how we go with it. The team looks good. The team looks good, and obviously this week, in theory, should be my bounce up to 700 again, based on the current patterns. And if I could get a 200k green out of this, that would be great. And then I can assess the situation next week in terms of form, etc. Any news in terms of, because we probably are going to get some sort of news, I think, around 26 and the double game week. So at least that starts to answer one of our burning questions, and we can sort of plan towards that. You know, we could move the Saka out for an Mbeumo, and I could go with an Arsenal defender, I guess, because what I wouldn't mind moving out of there it's probably Chow, but then Brentford's at home's not too bad. Then Tottenham away, City away. Then it's not too bad. Everton home, Man United home, Chelsea. It's a mixed bag for Chow. We can rotate in and out. Again, I don't feel it's an imperative to sell him. But Newcastle, one of the teams that did not get into the top 8. So their fixture congestion is going to be an absolute fucking nightmare. So if I was hanging on to Palmer and or Saka, I mean, it's not beyond the realms that I move both of them out if they're both doing shit, and then I really have found a shitload of money to do a whole bunch of things with it further down the line when we get to that sort of 30, 31, 32 area. Once again, more questions than answers, but the team looks good because the averages have been so low, particularly across the last 4 or 5 game weeks. I've got game week 23. That's actually game week 24 prediction of 51. 51 would have your green arrow the last few games weeks, wouldn't it? It's going to be what it's going to be, guys. It really does feel like the weirdest season in years, doesn't it? Really, really does. There is no clear template, is there? Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. It's all over the place, and now it's going to be even more over the place, I think, with Bruno coming in, Haaland continuing to blank, or been a rotation risk, and that captaincy is going to start to spread. It's going to make the game even more chaotic than ever this season. Take care, have fun, play your own game, don't panic. Back with Bishop, Brennan Cup, and lock in, but this is kind of a lock in a day or so before the deadline. I'll see you lot soon. Bye for now.